Hands-on, Huawei P20 review. Huawei's big phone upgrade for 2018 is the jump to 3 cameras on the rear of the P20 Pro, but for some reason that upgrade isn't coming to the standard P20 model. The upgrades for the P20 over last year's Huawei P10 include a glassback, new colors, an AI-toting processor and some other under-the-hood spec upgrades, but everything here is a little limited considering the company decided to call this the P20 and not the P11. Huawei P20 release date and price. The Huawei P20 has just been officially unveiled alongside the P20 Pro, but an exact date for when it'll land on shelves has yet to be announced. Huawei may provide some information about the release at the end of its launch event, and if that's the case we'll be sure to update this article. The same goes for price, and we'll update this hands-on with those details as soon as we hear them. We anticipate that it'll be a similar price to the Huawei P10 at launch though, so around £569.99/899 Australian dollars. Huawei generally doesn't make its phones available in the US, so don't expect the P20 to appear on shelves there, but it's confirmed for the UK, and is likely to come to Australia too. Design and display. The design of Huawei's flagship has changed a lot since the last iteration of the handset. It now has a glassback, which you may think means it feels less premium than the all-metal P10, but we found it to have quite a high-end feel in the hand. The 18.7:9 aspect ratio display is similar to a lot of flagship phones in 2018, and there's also a notch at the top of the display. The interesting feature here, which we've not seen on other phones with notched screens, is that you can effectively turn the notch on or off. By default the notch is on, and looks much like the notch on other recent phones such as the iPhone X and Asus Zenfone 5, it juts into the screen, with the time and your notifications displayed on the screen at either side. The 5.8-inch LCD display on the front isn't as gorgeous as the 6.1-inch OLED on the P20 Pro, but it still has a fairly high resolution of 1080 by 2244. It's only Full HD, so doesn't look as stunning as phones from the likes of Samsung or Sony, but it's still sharp enough to look like a flagship product. Huawei is attempting to go for a bezel-less look here, but there's still a thick black band at the bottom of the phone that houses the fingerprint scanner. We feel it would have made more sense to put the scanner on the back, as on the Huawei P20 Lite, giving the front of the phone more screen and a nice look. Another interesting element is the absence of a 3.5mm headphone jack on the Huawei P20. The larger P20 Pro also loses the headphone jack, but that phone has an IP67 rating, which means you can put the phone in water, and removing the headphone jack may have been necessary to achieve this. These are by far the standout colors for the Huawei P20, and look particularly bold if you're after something that catches the eye. Performance and specs. Under the hood of the Huawei P20 is the company's latest Kirin 970 chipset, which previously featured in the Huawei Mate 10 Pro and which performed well in our testing. The chip features a neural processing unit, and that's one of the big elements Huawei is pushing on the P20, as it imbues the phone with artificial intelligence. This essentially means the phone is better at predicting your actions before you complete them. There's 4 GB of RAM at work here too, which should be more than enough for most tasks, although it's less than the 6 GB inside the P20 Pro. The P20 comes running Android 8.1 Oreo software in the form of Huawei's own Emotion UI 8.1. The P20 comes with a generous 128 GB of built-in storage. There are no other options. It's admirable that Huawei has opted to drop the 16 GB/32 GB and 64 GB options for its flagship, and there's still microSD support if you want even more space for your apps and media. The battery in the P20 is a 3,400 mAh unit. Huawei's own fast charging technology is present too, so it shouldn't take you too long to charge up your phone if you're in a hurry. Camera. If you've heard about the big camera upgrades for the Huawei P20 Pro, don't expect all of those on the P20. It's still just a dual rear shooter here, with a 12MP f/1.8 RGB sensor and a 20MP f/1.6 monochrome one. There's also now a 960 frames per second slow motion mode that records at 720p, but while the technology works well we found it difficult to time our slow-mo shots. You've only got a very small window of time in which to press the button, and you need to time it perfectly to get an effective shot. It's also a little behind the best slow-mo shooters considering the latest phones from Sony can record at 960 fps and 1080p. If you're looking for a phone with a really great slow-motion mode, you'll likely want to take a look at Sony's latest handsets, such as the Xperia XZ2.